Hello everyone, welcome back to ComMed Made Easy, and I hope you all are doing very well. Before we begin, let me remind my dear students that the contents of this channel are only to supplement your knowledge, not to replace the regular online and offline classes in your institution. So please attend your classes and do not miss them. Also, if you like our contents, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, and share these videos with your friends, with your batchmates, with your juniors. Also, if you are a teacher, then with your students. Please follow our Facebook page, and the link will be given in the description. Today, we shall talk about classification of epidemiological studies. This is a very commonly asked question. Especially, it can come as a part of your long question, or sometimes you are given a situation and then you are asked to prepare a suitable study design, epidemiological study design. So unless you have clear idea about the epidemiological study designs, you will not be able to give the correct answer to the questions. So before we begin, let us have a little bit of idea about disease and its causation. Whenever we mention disease, it can be a communicable disease or a non-communicable disease. So communicable diseases are those which is transferred from a person to another person, from an animal to a person, or from an environment to the person. It can be caused from different kind of pathogen or microorganism. For example, bacteria, virus, fungus, parasite, protozoa, etc. Any other kind of disease which is not transmitted from a man or an animal or the environment to a person is known as non-communicable diseases. For example, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer, etc. They are caused by exposure to different risk factors like diet, lifestyle, physical inactivity, addiction, etc. Just for an example, suppose a person takes very unhealthy diet, excess of calorie intake, and he leads a sedentary lifestyle. He does not have much of the physical activity. That means, suppose he is into a profession where he has to sit uh, in a chair uh, at his desk working on the computer, so he does not have much of the physical activity. Also, he is addicted to smoking, alcohol, etc. So all these risk factors can lead to different non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, etc. So we can say there is always a cause. When a person is exposed to this cause, he may develop the effect, which is the disease. But we have to remember that there can be multiple causes leading to a single disease. For example, unhealthy diet can cause diabetes. Similarly, lack of physical activity, sedentary lifestyle, they individually can also cause diabetes. So that means multiple causes leading to a single effect. Also, a single cause can lead to multiple effects. For example, smoking. Smoking can cause lung diseases like COPD. Also, it can cause cancer, lung cancer, and can also develop hypertension, diabetes, etc. Other non-communicable diseases. So as you can see, a single cause can lead to multiple effects. But for today's discussion, we shall focus only on 1:1 relationship. That means single cause leading to single effect. That means when a person is exposed to a single cause, he can develop a single effect or a single disease. So that means throughout the discussion on different study designs in further videos in future, we shall talk about exposure and disease. So that means exposure to the pathogen or exposure to different risk factor leading to different diseases, which can be a communicable disease or non-communicable disease. Now coming to the classification of epidemiological studies. Now there will be two different classifications that I will talk about. The first one is the usual classification. Now this usual classification is what is given in the book of Park. which is taken as the standard textbook for community medicine. Now, please listen to me carefully. If you are an undergraduate student, which can be an MBBS student, a BDS student, a nursing student, whatever, please follow whatever your teachers in your institution are teaching you. That means if they are referring to the classification which is given in the book of Park, my advice is to write that classification only or memorize that classification. Alright, because as a teacher I don't want students to have their marks deducted in the theory exam. So if your institution is following the classification which is given in the book of Park, which is the usual classification, I would advise you to follow that. But I know many teachers, including myself, who are not very satisfied with the classification which is given in the book of Park. And that is why we follow a different and a more logical classification. This classification I will mention in the last part of our video. If your teacher is following this alternate classification, you can write it. But again, if your teacher or any faculties in your institution is following the classification from the book of Park, please memorize that only and write that. Now coming to the first classification that is given in the book of Park. So epidemiological studies can be classified into observational study and experimental study. Now what these terminologies mean, I will describe very soon. So observational studies can be further subdivided into descriptive study and analytical study. This is also known as comparative study, analytical or comparative study. This analytical study is further subclassified into ecological studies, case control studies, cohort studies, and cross-sectional studies. Now coming to the experimental design, it can be classified into a randomized control trial, field trial, and community trial. Now, as you can see, I have underlined few of the study designs because in future classes I shall describe these individual study designs in details. Whenever we conduct an epidemiological study, it is always based on some kind of hypothesis. Hypothesis actually means assumption. That means something we assume. For example, smoking may cause COPD. Alright, so in 21st century, we already know that smoking causes COPD. But suppose 50 years or 100 years back from now, when we were not sure, we only assumed that smoking may cause COPD. So this was an assumption at that time. So this is a hypothesis. Alright. Now coming to individual study design. So first one is observational study design. Observational studies are ones where researchers observe the effect of a risk factor, a diagnostic test, treatment, or other intervention without trying to change who is or isn't exposed to it. So that means he only observes. What does he observe? The effect of a risk factor. That means whether a risk factor is causing a disease. The diagnostic test, whether a diagnostic test is able to find out a disease. Treatment or other intervention, whether they can cure or minimize the suffering from a disease without trying to change who is or isn't exposed to it. That means who will receive the diagnostic test or who will receive the treatment or who will be exposed to the risk factor. The observer or the researcher will not decide that. Alright. So observational studies allow nature to take its own course. The investigators measures but does not intervene. The moment he intervenes, it actually becomes interventional or experimental study design, which is on the other side of the classification. So in observational study, he will not intervene, and whatever is happening in the study, the researcher will let it happen because the studies allow nature to take its own course. The role of the observer or researcher is to only observe. That's it. Descriptive studies and analytical studies are two observational studies. So in descriptive study, it is limited to a description of the occurrence of the disease or health related event in a population in terms of time, place and person. So for example, whether there are more number of cases of a particular disease in a given time period or in a particular time of the year or any season. So that is time distribution. For example, respiratory infections occurring more during the winter season. If there are a lot of cases coming from a particular place, so that is place distribution, and also more number of cases are present in a particular gender or in any particular age group, so that becomes the person distribution. So descriptive studies answers to questions like when, that means the time distribution, where, the place distribution, and who, as in who are being affected, so that is the person distribution. We have only one group here, okay, the subjects having the outcome without any comparison group. The moment we have two or more groups and we can compare, it becomes analytical study. But in descriptive studies, we have only one group, and that is why we do not have any scope to compare. And this is useful for hypothesis formulation or generation. So we can make some assumption here. Coming to analytical studies, it analyzes relationship between the health status and the other variables. We have at least two groups, there can be more than two groups, and there are scope for making comparison. Answers to the questions like why and how. So that means how the disease is happening, or rather why the disease is happening. All these kind of questions can be answered in analytical studies. If you remember, in descriptive studies, we answer to the questions like when, where and who. That means the place distribution, person distribution and the time distribution. It is useful for hypothesis testing. So that means we can compare a group who is exposed versus a group who is not exposed, and then try to find out the occurrence of the disease. Since we have two groups and we can compare between the occurrence of the disease between these two groups, that is why this is an analytical study. Coming to experimental studies, which is also known as interventional study, because the researcher can intervene here. The experimental studies are ones where the researcher introduces an intervention and the study the effects. So that means now it is in the hand of the researcher himself. He can intervene and introduce any intervention. The role of the observer or researcher is to intervene. That means he can interfere or manipulate to determine who receives which intervention. Okay, so for example, I can tell that this person will be exposed to a pathogen, and then I will compare another person who is not exposed to the pathogen. So that means I am determining who will be exposed to the pathogen and who will not be exposed. Also, some other examples like drug and vaccine. Suppose we already have paracetamol for fever, right? Now today suppose I have made or rather developed a new molecule and I claim this is working better than paracetamol against fever. So what do I have to do? I have to give some people with fever paracetamol and some people with fever the new molecule, and then I have to compare which drug is working better. So that means we are comparing between these two groups, but also as a researcher I have the power to decide which group or rather which patient of fever will receive paracetamol and which patient will receive the other drug. Similar for vaccine. Suppose we have Covishield and Covaxin, right? So I can decide who will receive the Covishield vaccine and who will receive the Covaxin, and we can compare the efficacy of the two different vaccines among the recipients. So again, I have the power to decide who will receive the Covaxin and who will receive the Covishield. Ideally speaking, this exposure part, that means exposure to any kind of pathogen or risk factors, this is not ethically acceptable. As a doctor, as a physician, I cannot tell someone to be exposed intentionally, right? So that is why these experimental studies are mostly used for testing of different drugs or vaccines, etc. And also this is useful for hypothesis confirmation. So in descriptive studies, we formulate or generate hypothesis, we test the hypothesis in analytical study, and then we confirm the hypothesis in experimental study design. Just to give an example, suppose the hypothesis is smoking may cause COPD or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So the hypothesis formulation: researcher studies 100 people for their smoking habit and presence of COPD. So suppose as a researcher I go to a village, I select 100 random adult people, I ask them about their smoking pattern, because some of them will be smoking and some of them will not be a smoker, and also I will examine them for presence of COPD. So what happens here? Suppose at the end of the day I find out that out of these 100 people, about 30 people are smokers. So we have 30% smoker in the given village. Also, suppose after examination I find out that about 20% of the adults have COPD. So I may assume that since in this village there are 30% smokers as well as 20% COPD, that means the numbers are quite high. Maybe there is an association between smoking and COPD. So this is only an assumption. This is how we formulate an hypothesis, and this is a descriptive study. Why? Because we do not have any comparison group, so this is not an analytical study. Also, the researcher is only observing and describing the disease or the exposure. He has described that there are 20% smoker and 30% COPD, or rather the reverse, 30% smokers and 20% COPD patients. Okay, now we can go for hypothesis testing by analytical studies. Suppose the researcher will go to a village with more number of people. From that village he will select 50 smokers, that means those people who are already smoking, and he will also select 50 non-smokers, right? Then he will compare these 50 smokers against these 50 non-smokers for the development of COPD after many years. So what is happening here? Number one, he is comparing between two groups, smokers versus non-smokers. Also, he is not deciding who will be the smokers and who will not be the smokers. That means he is not assigning the exposure smoking to anyone, because these smokers were already smokers. By the time he reached the village, they are already smokers. It's not like they started smoking only after the researcher told them to do so, right? So that means he is not deciding who will be exposed and who will not be exposed. He is just selecting the exposed people and the non-exposed people, and there is scope for comparison. So that is why this is an analytical studies. We do hypothesis confirmation in experimental or interventional studies. This is almost the same, but here the researcher decides which 50 people will smoke and which 50 people will not smoke. Alright, so that means he has selected 100 people, and then from those 100 people he has randomly selected 50 people and asked them to start smoking from that day. And the rest of the 50 people, they were told not to smoke. Maybe after 5 years or 10 years they were examined for the development of COPD. Since there are two groups, smokers versus non-smokers, and they are being compared, also the researcher himself decided who will smoke and who will not smoke. This is actually an experimental or interventional study design. But as I mentioned earlier, let me remind you once again, in this case this is ethically unacceptable, because this is a risk behavior. Smoking is a risk behavior and it is harmful to the patients or subjects. So as a doctor or even as any researcher, you cannot do something that is harmful to the subjects. right? So that is why this kind of researches will not be allowed to be performed. This was given only just for an example so that you understand in this context. Okay. Coming to the second classification, which I believe is the more logical classification, epidemiological studies can be either descriptive study or analytical study. When we have only one group and there is no scope for comparison, it is descriptive study. If we have two groups or more than two groups and we can compare between them, then it is analytical study. This descriptive study can be done on a single person or a group of people as a whole. When it is done on individuals, the study designs can be like case reports, case series, or cross-sectional surveys. On the other hand, when the descriptive study design is conducted on a population, the example is ecological studies. Analytical studies can be either observational study or interventional or experimental study design. When the researcher do not decide who will be exposed and who will not be exposed, or rather who will receive an intervention and who will not receive the intervention, that means it is not in his hand, it is actually an observational study design. For example, case control studies and cohort studies. But when the researcher can decide who will be exposed and who will not be exposed, or rather who will not receive an intervention, that is an experimental study design. For example, clinical trials like randomized control trial and all. Since in both this type, observational type and experimental type, there are two or more groups they can compare, so both of them should be a part of analytical study, unlike what we found in the usual classification. So that is why I prefer this classification. But again, I'm telling, just see what your teachers are teaching you in your institution. Whatever they are saying you, just follow that classification. Okay. For your exam purpose, you should write the classification that is mentioned by your teachers or faculties in your institution. But again, if you are a postgraduate student, especially if you are pursuing MD community medicine or diploma or master courses in public health or any epidemiology courses, then you should definitely follow this classification rather than the one given in the book of PARC. So with this, we conclude our discussion for today. I believe we have a little bit of idea regarding different types of study, but in subsequent videos in future we shall talk about individual studies in details. So thank you very much. If you like the video, please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and also share this video with your batchmates and also with your friends who are from other medical colleges. That will help me a lot. We also have our Facebook page, you can follow it, the link is given in the description. Take care, and we shall see you very soon in our new video.